When you walk through the Ashmolean galleries, you'll see lots of German artworks on display. But the drawings, because they're so fragile, they have to be kept in our study rooms, and so they're not very well known to the public. With this project, we're finally able to put them in the spotlight, to share our research findings, and to make them accessible for everyone to enjoy. My name is Anne van Kamp, and I'm the curator of Northern European art here at the Ashmolean Museum. So I'm very excited to share with you this amazing research project. It's funded by the Getty Foundation's Paper Project, and it focuses on the Ashmolean German Old Master drawings. So these are drawings made by German-speaking artists up until 1800. With this research project, we really want to focus on one specific type of drawings, and those are the design drawings. Because they explore how the artist works, how he prepares other works of art, other products. What's amazing about this project is with the funding of the Getty Foundation, we were able to recruit a project curator, Majlena Malach, and we've built this amazingly friendly network with specialists from different fields across the world, and that has really enriched the findings that we made about the German drawings in our collection.
The German drawings were produced in the Holy Roman Empire, which was a patchwork of smaller states. Emperor was maybe Maximilian I, who also was a patron of the arts. At that time, also critical ideas spread, of which Martin Luther initiated the Reformation as a protest against the Catholic Church. The Reformation was important because the churches would use artists for their propaganda and for informing the people. So when we look at the 15th and 16th century, there were many inventions made and shifts occurred. For instance, we have the invention of the book printing in the 1450s. Towards the 16th century, artists would become more independent and free, and creativity and imagination would become their characteristics.
These design drawings are extremely interesting because they really give us an insight about how three-dimensional products were made. For instance, Dürer's designed for a table fountain, which is a beautifully finished, hand-colored study for a table centerpiece, which was used at very lavish banquets.
So here we have two of our most important and beautiful designs for goldsmiths' work, which were made in Germany in the 16th century. So what Dürer has produced here is a drawing, a finished drawing for a table fountain that would then be turned into a finished work of art in gold and silver by the goldsmith. So it should be a working object, and what he's created is a sort of vessel at the top, and then as you come up through this kind of branch-like structure, which of course is where the liquid for the fountain would run, and then on the top fountain figure is a man holding a goose. And you know, there are examples of this kind of work surviving in some collections.
Now this picture is a design for a wine fountain. I was particularly interested because one of my lines of work is I build drinks machines for whiskey distilleries. In my line of business, what I have to do often is sell an idea to somebody. And so I felt like maybe this picture was about pitching an idea. And that's why I felt this connection across this 500-year gap between the work I do now and Albrecht Dürer's designs from the 16th century.
And then this absolutely stunning design of a cup by Hans Holbein. And the drawing is called the Jane Seymour Cup because it was in fact a commission from the English King Henry VIII as a wedding gift to his third wife, Jane Seymour. And so we see their initials, J and H, entwined in the design of the cup.
We know that such a cup was indeed made, in that an object matching the description of this drawing appears in the royal inventories. It survived into the 17th century, where it was then pawned to the Bank of Amsterdam and melted down for gold. This drawing is incredibly important in that it gives us a testimony, it gives us a sense of the incredibly elaborate objects that were being made for Henry's court and designed by Hans Holbein.
We should imagine these drawings as a sort of a guideline, a source, a model for the craftsman, for the goldsmith, for the glass painter, for the wood carver to work from.
This anonymous drawing likely responds to a relief sculpture produced on the Upper Rhine in the late 15th century. The image of Joseph you can barely make out there at the top was executed in charcoal prior to the pen and ink of the central figures. If we strain, we can make out the details of a bearded face, generous sleeve, and clasped hands. But the draftsman's interest and attention is clearly on Christ. The reinforced outlines of the child's raised left arm both draw the viewer's eye to his importance and convey the full projection of the limb that, if sculpted, would occupy the space in front of the Virgin's lap. One more detail bears comment here. Balthazar carries his myrrh in splendid micro-architectural goldsmithery. Here the container is less elaborate, reduced to a pyx or low-lidded box, an example of which, produced in Basel on the Rhine, can be found in the Ashmolean collection.
The Ashmolean Museum holds a large group of design drawings for stained glass panels. So they had in the workshops, they had a large turnover of images and they would use them in an almost modular way. So they could use central figures from that design drawing and then add maybe decorative or landscape backgrounds from other drawings. So now here we look at one of the earliest German drawings in the collection, which is made for a stained glass roundel in Strasbourg. We not only see a beautiful depiction of the coronation of the Virgin, but also some written instructions. It reads Seidentuch mit Blume, which is in English a silk cloth with flowers. And so probably this was to be added by someone else.
What makes this research project so relevant to us today is that we can now look at these design drawings from a whole new perspective. So think of these design drawings as modern product design. For instance, when a car engineer designs a new car model for the BMW factory, or a furniture maker who draws a design of a chair for IKEA. When you walk through the Ashmolean galleries, you'll see a lot more of our German art collections. We have, for instance, this beautifully carved wooden sculpture of St. Catherine, which is shown alongside some of our earliest German paintings. and these small bronze plaquettes by Peter Fluttner, or this intricately cast brass inkstands by Peter Vischer.
We have this remarkable collection, in this case, of 3 inkstands, all made in Nuremberg, in southern Germany, in the workshop of Peter Vischer, who was a great bronze casting family who were making very highly accomplished small bronzes in the Italian style. So if you didn't know, if these weren't signed by the Vischer workshop, most people, I think, would think these were Renaissance Italian.
So the Ashmolean holds a lot of masterpieces in its German collections. We have a full box of almost a dozen drawings by the really famous German artist Albrecht Dürer. And he was interested in a wide variety of subjects. So not only do we have religious scenes by him, we also have portraits, we have landscapes, for instance, this beautiful watercolor of a valley in Trentino in North Italy. Dürer was even interested in really bizarre natural phenomena, such as, for instance, the conjoined twins, which were born in Bavaria in 1512. So this drawing now is really exciting, because this is a brand new discovery that was made during our research project. And what we're seeing here is a naked couple who are holding a shield. And in the crown of the tree you see the monogram AD. And of course we all know that AD stands for Albrecht Dürer, the famous German artist. Bizarrely, we also have this bound volume in our collection which contains 116 drawings illustrating the Ship of Fools. And the Ship of Fools, or Das Narrenschiff in German, in a very funny way, it illustrates bad government, it illustrates bad running of the church at the time. So here we have a quite unusual drawing which I hadn't seen before this project started, because in fact it'd been living in our paper conservation studio. So you can see it's a drawing in 2 parts, and if we shuffle them closer to one another you'll be able to see how they actually match up.
This drawing is a real mystery to us. So we have 2 parts, a central part showing Christ in a chalice in an architectural setting surrounded by the 7 sacraments. So you have the baptism, marriage, the Eucharist. On the right-hand side we have Antichrist surrounded by 7 deadly sins. So you have envy with the snakes coming out of her head. You have overeating with lots of vomiting going on. You have a dog pulling a cannon for anger. So we need something to balance it out. What is missing on the other side would be the 7 virtues conquering the 7 deadly sins. So, and we have a pointer to that in rays coming out of Christ, showing faith, hope, and charity or love.
With this research project, we wanted to shed new lights on our German collections and make them more accessible to visitors worldwide. The next step will be to share all our new discoveries and research findings with you all, and so we'll make everything available online. We'll also keep working and using this amazing network that we've now built up. There are so many masterpieces of German drawings to discover at the Ashmolean, and I would like to invite you all to come and see them in person. There's no need to book, you can show up, because we're not just open for researchers, we're open for everyone.